share some victories. Who wants to start? I nominate Trudy. She looks like she's deep in focused deeply on something.
Trudy, can you hear us?
Yeah, I was turning up my volume. That's what I was focusing on. Thank God.
Well, Trudy, why don't we start with you and share a victory from the last week?
I'm going to Toronto.
Oh, there we go.
Thanks to Tammy.
Yes. Awesome.
Yep. I'll be there.
Amazing. You already picked up your ticket?
Yep. So looked after.
Hey, fantastic. Way to go, Trudy. Looking forward to seeing you there.
I know.
You already live in Ontario, don't you?
Me? No, New Brunswick.
Oh, New Brunswick. Oh, wow. You're way out there. Way east.
Way.
Oh, that's phenomenal. How far is New Brunswick from Toronto, flight-wise?
Flight-wise, it's only 2 hours.
Okay, that's not bad.
12-hour drive.
Okay. Hey, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Way to go, Trudy. That's a big victory.
Yes,
Who else would like to share a victory? Who'd like to start? Who else would like to start? I mean, come on. Who wants to go?
I got leads under $3.
Hey, that's awesome, Chris.
It only lasted for like 12 hours, but it happened. So
hey, that's okay.
It's progress.
Keep in mind that algorithm doesn't mean just because you get 3 a day doesn't mean that you're going to get 3 every day.
Yeah.
Right? I have days sometimes where I'll get 4 or 5 leads, and then I've literally had 1 lead in the past 3 days.
Yeah.
Same ad, nothing changed. It just, again, it's up and down. So that's why if you don't have leads after, let's say, your first 24 hours of posting an ad, don't sweat it. Let it run a little bit. You know, it really takes some time. It's about how much data, how much reach gets out there. Like Julian typically won't change an ad until he spent probably $1,000.
Wow.
You know, on an ad, but he's spending $300 to $500 a day as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's about reach and seeing what kind of data you can get. So, Chris, that's awesome.
Learning.
And you have another 3 other leads as well, warm market leads, right?
No, those. Well, are you referring to when I was asking about the written information, or?
Yeah, people are reaching out to you.
Sort of. It's been coming, like those requests were over the course of a couple of months.
Okay.
This was just the 3rd one that I got today, where she specifically asked that. And actually, Justin PM'd me. It was a 1,000-word message that he uses when people ask him that. And I sent this woman a message, and I said, I reached out to my team and asked if anybody had come across this before, and this is the message that I received. I said it was written by someone else, but I can say that it's the same basic idea for me as well, and here you go. And so now she started asking questions again. So we'll see where it goes.
Hey, you never know. And maintain that posture. Maintain the posture. Hey, this is something that they could use, not that they, need a handout from you, right?
Yeah. Well, it's sort of funny because I remember very much grilling you while you were in Hawaii, and she's asking me very similar questions. So I was like, oh yeah, it's coming back.
Yeah. Awesome. Way to go, Chris.
Thanks.
Cool. So let's share some victories. Who is not used to speaking? Who wants to go? Yeah, Ryan, Liz, Jordan. Great to see you on here, Jordan.
I nominate Jordan.
Kyla.
I nominate Jordan.
My win, I guess, mainly would be just being on this chat with you guys, and I want to get here weekly and get more dialed into my business.
Awesome. Hey, we love you too, man.
Thanks. And I just need to stay more consistent with taking action daily. So, but my biggest win would be being here right now.
Awesome. Hey, that's great, man. That's a victory as well. We're glad that you're here with us.
Thank you.
And I promise you, every person on here and the people in the Epic chat, I mean, that's what we're here for. We play team. You're a big sports fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
You played hockey too, didn't you?
Yeah, I love the Maple Leafs.
Oh, yeah. Well, we won't say anything about that right now. But, hey, we play team, right? We're all your line mates. We're your teammates. So you can rely on us to help lift you up, help support you if you're down, but also celebrate victories when you're on top of the podium.
Okay.
When you score, okay?
Okay.
And you will.
Something that happened last week too, actually, Jordan, I had a particularly rough week last week, and this happened to me again yesterday. It's been kind of a bit of a roller coaster, but sometimes I found that I don't particularly want to come on and I don't want to interact with people and stuff. But when I do, I always end up feeling better because I'm surrounded by, happy people, all these happy faces. So even if I don't necessarily interact and I come on and I'm silent with no camera or whatever, then it always makes you feel a little better anyway.
Okay.
Don't you guys notice that? I mean, there's a pattern in life where, just like the example that Chris had just mentioned, that when you push through and you do the things you know that you should normally, and I would guess that every single time, all of us have been through this. We don't feel like doing something, but we push through it. We say, hey, you know what? I should do this. I got to do it. And you go ahead and you do it. The universe rewards you. The universe rewards you for taking action that maybe you didn't feel like doing. Maybe you don't feel like taking action, but you did anyways because you knew that you should. It was aligned with what you want to accomplish, but you just maybe, didn't feel up for it. Didn't feel energetic. Didn't feel sociable. Didn't feel whatever you don't feel. Didn't feel it, but you did it anyways. The universe will conspire and will reward you for it. You guys know what I mean? Right? We see examples like that every single day. But a lot of us don't, we have our minds closed to it. But now you guys are all enlightened souls. You guys have a larger awareness of what happens and why things happen. That's part of business. It's having a higher level awareness. You're not confined by the blinders that are put on you as students and employees, the typical 9-to-5 people. You're not that anymore. You've begun a transformation. And because of that, you see a whole different world, a whole different possibilities. So continue to focus on that, Jordan. Continue to focus on that growth. Focus on a different way to look at things versus how you used to look at things. And we all need to do that. Whether you have results in your business or not, we all need to focus on, hey, how do I grow? It's by looking at things from a different perspective and a higher level perspective. So now we have a better understanding, a deeper understanding. And when you grow, that's what leads to growth in the tangible aspect, which is growth with finances and money and wealth and prosperity. Does that make sense, Jordan? So yeah, man, just push through, stay consistent, and that's the one habit that will create success for all of us is consistency.
Okay.
Awesome, Jordan. Thanks for sharing, man.
Thank you.
All right, who else would like to share today? Let's go one more victory.
I'll go quickly.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, because you said it at the exact same time, we'll take two. But we'll let this go first.
I was going to go only because I feel like you're hinting a lot. So, I started posting and playing around with ads again, and I haven't really I shouldn't say had the time, but spent time split testing and figuring out what works since Christmas. So that's good. And I also started doing exercise outside. So there's
awesome. That sounds like that's a stretch for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I'm talking to leads again, which is like Chris said, getting back in the game. I'm like, oh my God, how did I do this? Because I remember way back in November or December, I was getting so many that it was just second nature. I could just write back to people back and forth, but then I would lose them in the webinar, and that was really frustrating. But yeah, so I'm talking to leads again, and I'm like, how did I do this all throughout the day and didn't even think about it? Because now I'm like spending an hour being like, what made you want to reach out to me? So it's good though. It's like breaking the ice months later and getting back into it. So that feels really good. That's my victory.
Awesome.
I know.
And Liz, I'm telling you that the growth and the confidence and the posture that you've gained in the last 6 months is going to help you convert those leads.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you.
It will. Absolutely. And your realization of who you are and the alignment of the direction that you're going and the alignment of where you want to go, that is also going to help you convert those leads. Because a lot of times, and we'll expand on this later because it is relevant to the lesson from this chapter, but a lot of us think that, okay, how do I sell? How do I sell somebody a membership? How do I sell them a trifecta? How do I sell them on something? But really, that's not what it's about. It's about providing vision for something that doesn't exist yet. Right? And again, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but that chapter that we talk about in terms of vision it's so important in business and sales. Where why would a lead join you? Why would they join if you didn't have a vision for yourself?
Yeah, I like that part in the book actually, where they said you can't lead without vision.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll dive into that later. Thank you so much for sharing. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's true.
Sorry, well, it was on top of my head. Sorry to cut you off, and I just wanted to say, Miranda and I are taking the Persuasion Enhancement course from Michael Burnoff this week, and it is absolutely fantastic. Like the same way that we talk about
the course of his.
Oh man, it is amazing. It's 3 days.
Is it the
it's on
follow-up
phone.
to Call to Action?
Yes.
Okay.
So I've got his Core Experience course coming up in October, but he's got a whole bunch of other courses that are sort of in the middle, and the Persuasion Enhancement one is specifically related to how you use your words to help people understand what you're trying to say, like very basically. He taught us some of that in Vegas, the 1 + 1 + 1 is 4 idea. So he gave us that again, but the stuff that he went over yesterday and today was just amazing. And I don't know where, I think Miranda's working, but she was saying that she's been using it with her leads today and she was really doing good stuff with it. So I highly, highly recommend it if you get a chance.
Kylo and I are starting the Call to Action one on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
The first part of it. So I'm excited about that.
It's so good.
Love it.
So good.
Burnoff's a point. He's world class. Really, he's a pro, and if you can take some of his courses, it's phenomenal. And you're going to Core Strength, Chris, in October.
That's the plan. That's the plan. It's been a rough week, but that's the plan.
Awesome. We'll get you there. Awesome. Thanks, Chris. You, Mr. Tremblay, you're up.
Yeah, my win this week came from a challenge. On Friday, I got a phone call from my credit card company. They said that they've noticed some unusual activity. So we went through, and someone for the last month has had fun with my card, and now it's racked right up. It hasn't been resolved yet, but it will be. But that forced me, again, I wasn't able to be running ads this week either because of that. So I've been digging into my warm market, and I've had some good conversations with people who used to be on the team that slipped off for whatever reason. And a few of them are coming back in. And right now, this week, I have 3 people doing their Enagic papers. Two of them are trifectas, and one of them isn't. But yeah, things are good.
Buddy, that's amazing. Great job. Not about the credit card, but the other stuff. And as a note, everybody should be reading those statements, checking over, making sure that, hey, no credit card fraud, identity fraud, all that stuff. It's the real deal, right? In 2017 or 2018. So yeah, you got to make sure you check on those things. That's awesome, man. Thanks, Jan.
Yeah, I don't know if you have this, but I have an app for my credit card, and my debit card. And every time I make a purchase on either, I get a pop-up email and a pop-up kind of messenger that shows you just processed a sale for X on your checking account. Or if I have a purchase go through my credit card, I get a pop-up from my credit card company through the app that tells me every time a purchase goes through. That's been helping me stay on top of it.
I'll 100% look into that.
Okay. I have a partial win. It's a win in the works because tonight I have to put together a financing plan for my new member for a trifecta. So I'm excited about that. So it's a win in the works.
Hey, that's great.
And I have another win, but Kevin, I'll let you share that win if you want.
I don't know. Which one are you speaking of? we spoke for like 80 minutes earlier, so.
I have actually one other win today was I got to spend an amazing morning with Angela Carboni. Had some really great in-depth conversations and just really loved to collaborate with her. So it was like, she's my sister. We had a great time. And the other win is the new work that I'm doing right now, the extra projects on my plate and stuff like that. So I'll let you share that. If
okay, yes, I will share that. So, and obviously this is not a corporate call, guys, but what Tammy's alluded to is because of her experience, because of her professionalism, her emotional intelligence, and success in the industry, we've hired her on corporately with GAZ. To be our community manager, essentially like our affiliate manager, somebody that's going to be on the ground in the trenches and being a great ear. Really, that's what she is she's going to be a great ear for the affiliates so that she can help us connect as we grow. We're having a record month, just so everybody knows. Like GAZ right now, if I check my dashboard, I just want to give you guys a little bit of insight. Bear with me. So it is currently the 21st of the month in June. And our new members, new sales, we're up 34% already over all of last month. Like we're almost at 2,000 new sales, front-end sales for this month alone. So we'll easily surpass 2,500. In new sales, we're going to crack 5,000 active monthly users here right away. You know, I would not be surprised if we got close to 45% increase on new sales from last month, just month over month. This is not from last year. This is not last June. This is from May 2018 to June 2018. It's absolutely incredible. And you know what it comes down to? It's coming down to dedication and hard work from people like you guys. People like you guys all over the world that are dedicated, are aligned with mission and purpose and vision lists. You know, all of those things come together, and we're on the brink of absolutely exploding. You know, if you think about 34% increase month over month, you ask anybody that has a corporate background if they want increases like that, yeah, they would probably sell their child for increases like that. So because we're growing at that pace, we want to be able to support our leaders and our affiliates from a point that is on the ground up, not from top down. Of course, we have top down. That's communication. That's very important. But where we want to support the affiliates is know what their challenges are. Where can we enhance communication? Where are the breakdowns? How can we make the experience better? And honestly, when thinking of, you know, who can we put in that position, you know, Tammy was first on my list. So we took some applications in. We looked at some of the options, and Tammy made the perfect choice. Or sorry, she was the perfect choice. So So yeah, she has a new corporate position with us here in GAZ, and so that'll be her funding source. Hopefully, she doesn't try to get out of that job, but she'll have some freedom with that, and I couldn't be happier having her in that position. And not everybody else knows her as well as I do, but I know that she'll flourish, and she's going to not flourish just in the corporate position, but because of who she's going to serve. And it's serving the community, all the affiliates, new and old. She's already, in the last week, already really shown how good she is in that role. So that's a victory for Tammy. So anyhow, Tammy, did you want to say anything on that?
I just want to say super thank you, and it's actually an honor to serve this community and the members outside of our Epic team. You guys can't hog me to yourselves anymore. I gotta spread myself around this whole 10,000 member community. And after 200 private messages to new members recently in our Facebook group, I've really gotten to know what the needs are of the community and what they're looking for, and it's just been exciting from the start. So I'm looking forward to the upcoming year for sure.
Awesome. Okay, so we went over some victories. Let's go over some challenges. Who has had a specific challenge this week that they would like to highlight? I want to hear from everybody who hasn't spoken yet. What's a challenge that you faced this week that you've actually learned from? Or maybe you want to learn from, but don't know how, and you want to bring it to the team.
I'll go.
Of course, Ryan.
Yeah, so this past week I've been having a lot more conversations with people. I've had, my ads I've been getting probably at least five comments a day for a full week, which is awesome for me.
Nice.
And, so I'm learning with every conversation, with every everybody that reaches out. Everybody has a different situation and things like that. So. But today, there's this one girl, she seemed really interested and she had a pretty decent job. And what she told me, she was just looking, she's in the military. And so she was looking to find something else for an exit strategy, basically, just a side hustle for now. And then, and then she messaged me today and she saw a lot of value in the webinar. And, but she said, she couldn't afford it. So I kind of reached out to Kevin and Yan for some tips, just on how to talk about those objections. I didn't want to lose her. So yeah, I sent her another message, and the time that she's in the UK, so it's the middle of the night now. So hopefully she hasn't blocked my messages yet, so that's good. So hopefully she seems pretty positive throughout so far, but what Kevin told me today, I'll definitely learn from that. And, he just had mentioned, dig into their why. Don't focus on their problem, focus on what their outcome, what they want out of this. So yeah. So, every conversation you learn some new things, and as long as you're learning, that's a good thing. So, yeah, if it falls through, that's okay. 'Cause I learned some things. So that's the main thing for me.
Awesome, Ryan. Thanks for sharing, man. That is really important. And I think there's a conversation here that we can dive into about how to follow up. Like Liz brought it up. You brought it up in terms of the post-engagement follow-up and how to do that effectively. Again, you won't sell everybody. You won't convince everybody. But what you can do is provide vision. Again, related to what we're supposed to talk about later, is that vision for people. How important is that? Be honest with yourselves. Is when you talk to a lead, even when you present your marketing, are you providing a vision of something that doesn't exist yet, but somebody can see in their mind because of what you've said, what you've posted, what you've written, or something else that you've communicated? How much vision are you imparting on your leads and on your team? Who can say that? Who can say that you do? That you are good at presenting a vision or painting a picture of a vision that does not yet exist yet for your leads or for your team? A little bit. So Jan's nodding his head. Tammy's nodding her head. Okay, Chris is shaking her head. What about everybody else? Mac, yeah. Gabby, yeah, you do. Okay, so here's a question, guys. Quite often, painting that vision for somebody in your advertising, in your follow-up, of course, that stems from yourself. But what the next level is having a vision for your group, like a bigger vision. People will often do for other people more than what they'll do for themselves. So when you have a bigger vision that encompasses more people and encompasses the masses versus just you or just your prospect, then there's the sense of buy-in. Then there's a sense of, okay, I want to fit in with this. Why? Because it excites me or it has something that compels me to move forward. It's the same reason why, I mean, it's built into us to want to fit in with a group. Because I can't remember if I've spoken to you guys about this before, but in Simon Sinek's book, Leaders Eat Last, he talks about how biologically we have hormones that drive us to fit in. It's an innate need. And why? Is because if we didn't fit in groups, we would have died off as a species thousands of years ago. Like it's actually a need for us. So when you are communicating, again, it could be in a video ad, it could be in written copy, or it could be on the phone or on a Zoom. How much vision are you imparting on your audience? Selling is not about features and benefits. Selling and motivating and inspiring is about vision. It is about painting a picture of something greater than themselves, greater than what's right now. So when you're looking at your marketing and you're looking at your follow-up sequences, ask yourself, am I doing a good job of painting a vision? Am I painting a picture for somebody? Something that they want, something that compels them to move forward. And if you have trouble painting a vision for somebody else, it's likely because you have not defined that vision for yourself yet. Because that's where it starts, right? It has to start with you. Do you have a vision for yourself? How big is that vision for yourself? But then as you tie it together, you now have to align it and make it, what's the word? Not congruent. Congruent is not the word, but you basically have to tie it to the vision of what you can do together, and then what you can do as a group. What are they joining? Right? Over half the people that we've polled have said the reason why they joined is because of the community. That community is the group, right? That's what people are looking at. And it's not just the people, but the feel, right? It's the group itself. So a great thing for you to say or to communicate is, what is your vision for yourself and how does it relate to them? What is the vision for your team? What is the vision that we have as GAZ? Do you know what we want to accomplish? Do you know that we want to help people live free through the internet? You know? And that's something that we should be very, very clear about, which, as I speak about it right now, I think we can do a much better job of being clear on that from a company standpoint. But aside from the company, how clear is your vision? Are you just here to make money? Because making money will only motivate for so long. To inspire is different. And that's the difference between motivation and inspiration, is a vision that gets emotional, a vision that gets really passionate. So if anybody knows what it is, would you share what your vision is? Share what your vision is in terms of how you relate to a prospect. Let's say somebody that is either watching a video or they're reading an ad and they've commented. How would you impart vision on them, or how have you? Anybody want to go?
Everyone is so quiet. I find I can help impart vision by first and foremost, whatever topic we're speaking about, because when you're speaking with a prospect, always important to cover form, family, occupation, recreation, money, or motivation, right? As I'm having a conversation, I tend to naturally find something that you either relate with on a topic or a pain point. And to be able to relate to someone else and to verbalize, I can really appreciate how you feel. You know, obviously using the 3 F's, feel, felt, found. I can appreciate how you feel. I've felt that way in the past too. And what I found is, and that's when I start to bring in my vision at that point, and to talk about whether it was, you know, when I was really able to see myself no longer having to get up at 6 a.m. to drive through rush hour traffic. And now I'm able to get up when I choose to. And, you know, if I want to drive to a cafe and do some work, or spend a couple hours at, you know, the lake and just, whether it's do content, relax, read a book, you know, sharing the vision on whatever you relate to with them, and then what it looks like for you. I find I'm able to open their eyes to see it through my words for them to experience or to relate to that for themselves, for their story, for their purpose. And I find vision is important to pull out through their pain points and their passions, reminding them what their passions are when you talk about form, and then having to elaborate on what does that perfect day look like for you, and relating to it. Because I find if I can't relate to a prospect on any of those levels, it's just not a fit. But if I can share my vision with them, and they can share what their passions are, their hobbies, their goals, and why they would like to do more of that, or what life would feel like if they could experience that whenever they choose to. I think that's kind of the direction I tend to go when it comes to sharing vision.
Awesome. Great tips, Tammy. Who else has an example? And it doesn't have to be, you know, what you think has been working for you. It could have been something that you're evolving now, that you're enhancing. You know, like Ryan said earlier, he was somewhat stumped by this lady that didn't know, they couldn't afford it. So how do you move somebody forward when they have an objection?
I obviously ask him a lot. Go ahead.
No, go Ian.
I was going to say, obviously ask him a lot of questions about their why. Then I share mine every time. But the one thing that I talk about often is when you ask someone on a deathbed what they're most proud of and what they regret most in life. And 99.9% of the time, they always regret working too much and not spending enough time with their families and their loved ones. They regret not helping people more, not traveling the world as much. And that opens your eyes, because most of us, most people, not us here, but most people spend most of their time, their energy on working their asses off to get a paycheck. Now, don't get me wrong, work ethic, you can't replace that. You got to work. We got to bust our asses off. But when you realize that your focus is more about your time and other people's time over than just a paycheck, your vision on life and your everyday changes everything. You know, I used to work 70 hours a week and I was focused on money. I made money. I was making a good 6-figure income, but I was always tired. My relationship sucked. I had no time to do anything that I liked. And now, even though I'm not where I want to be yet, I have no stress. Like I feel good no matter what. Obviously, life throws curveballs at us here and there, but that's just life. But and it's a life that's only going to get better. And I know that my mindset obviously helps, but this community as a whole is definitely just, I got to thank JZ 100% for that.
Awesome, Yan. I was listening to a podcast today, actually, Yan, about that, and it was Lewis Howes. Lewis Howes was talking to a guy. Anybody familiar with the name James Lawrence? I'll share the podcast with you guys later. So this guy, he had set the record for the most Ironman triathlons in a year. He did 30 of them in 1 year.
We should.
So Ironman triathlon is I think it's a 2.5 mile swim, 2.5 mile swim, followed by a marathon, 26 mile run, and then followed by I think it's like an 80 mile bike ride, something like that. It takes about 10 hours. The world record is just under 9 hours right now. 9 hours of activity. So his record was 30 in a year. Then he threw out this idea. Okay, vision. He threw out the idea that he was going to do an Ironman triathlon every day for 50 days in 50 different states. And he did it. Everybody thought he was crazy. Like, think about this. Think about you exerting yourself. Try walking for 10 hours, right? This guy's running and biking and swimming. And his average time was 15 to 17 hours a day because he couldn't go full on because he knew he had to do another one the next day. Plus travel from state to state. So he averaged about 4 hours of sleep per night. Okay? 4 hours of sleep. 50 days, 17 hours of work. Literally 17 hours of exertion every single day for 50 days. And on one of those days, he took a guy that had MS and took him along the whole way. Pushed him in a cart, pulled him behind him in a like a kayak kind of thing, and pulled him in a bike for one of those days. And I think that was day 20. So when we talk about curveballs, and that's what he talked about a lot about, he said there were days where because of travel, sometimes, hey, you know what, the generator would kick out because they weren't staying in hotels all the time. Generator kick out, and you know what, they couldn't eat, right, because the food spoiled or something like that. Or they got a flat tire, traveling. A bunch of things happened. And those curveballs, he talks about how those curveballs will always happen in life. But how you approach them, how you deal with them, how you cope with them, how you overcome them are what make you stronger, or what make you better, or what allow you to level up. But that leveling up doesn't mean that you have a lack of problems or have a lack of curveballs. Those curveballs will always come regardless of where you come, regardless of where you're at in life. You guys all want to be successful, right? What is their idea of success? We're here all to make money. We're here and for those of us, you guys are all part of JZ. We are growing as people, as individuals, not just about money, but those things are tied. I understand the more you grow and the more you make money, the more money you make, the bigger problems you have to deal with. Right? When you have an aspiration of doing 50 Ironman triathlons in 50 days, 50 straight days, there's some big problems. And he said he had considered many times of quitting. But he kept in his mind his vision of what he could do, the audience that he could build by having such a lofty goal. Nobody has ever come close to this again. Like, he ate 12,000 calories a day right before the race and right after the race. Go to bed for 4 hours, Do it again. Think about that. Do that for 7 weeks straight. Imagine how your body would feel after that. And he says that the challenges that life puts in front of us are always there for a reason. But it's our choice whether we decide to break through or we break down. And he says several times, more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times, several times, he was on the brink of breaking down. He's like, how do I do this? He's like, I got 20 more days and 20 more races to go. So when you have those challenges come across, you have to say, hey, what is it that's actually, is this really holding me back? Why is this happening? I know that I can overcome. Look at every problem, every challenge, every adversity in your life as something that you can and that you will overcome, because what's on the other side of it is the better you. Because those problems, as you accomplish and you overcome and you start to solve problems, and maybe it's not just for yourself, but it's for other people. The more problems you solve, the more value you have. Success is the most selfless thing that you can do. It's the most selfless endeavor in life, is to have success. Because success is very often not personal. Success very often has to incorporate other people, and it impacts other people. So those challenges, honestly, I can't even remember why I went on this rant, but the challenges that we get thrown, curveballs, like Jan said, I think, yeah, you were talking about curveballs, Jan, is they're there for a reason. Everything is meant to level you up. Can somebody help me why I started on this rant? Because I completely forgot.
Well, we were talking about objections, and then...
Objections, yes.
I was just going to give my 2 cents on how I manage objections,
Yes.
if that's cool. I usually start with the feel, felt, found kind of property. So if someone, is saying to me, oh, I don't have the time or I don't have the money, I usually say, you know what, I totally understand how you feel. I felt the same way when I first got started. But then if it comes to money, let's say as the objection, I'll say, but then I just had a quick look at my finances and realized I was wasting a lot of money that I could then put towards my business. So is that something we could do? Could we have a look and see in your budget where you might be just kind of spending money that you don't have to? So feel, felt, found has worked for me in a number of occasions. But also what I started doing too is what we learned with Michael Burnoff at the last GAZ event was to build off of the objection. So if someone's saying, oh, I don't have enough time, you say, you know what, I totally understand how you feel. How long has it been, that you feel you haven't had the time freedom you want, right? And if they say, oh God, it's been forever, and you say, how does that feel? Does that feel good? Or did that feel shitty? And I will say shitty. And usually they're like, well, it's pretty shitty. It's like, so do you want to continue that, or do you want to get yourself some time freedom by spending a little bit of time now so you can have time freedom later? If they say it's money, I'll say, okay, fair enough. How long have you been without the financial resources you want to have? Oh God, I don't know if I've ever had the kind of money I want to have. Well, do you want this to continue, or do you want to put a stop to it now by investing a little bit of money today, paying the price today so you can pay any price tomorrow? And then with and this isn't really an objection, but if those of you who are at the GAZ event might remember how interesting Michael handled a know-it-all, right? So, if someone's like, oh yeah, I've done this, I've done Amway, I've done ACN, I've done Isogen, whatever the fuck they're saying they're done. And they're like, yeah, I know everything. I know what you're talking about, right? Oh, good. Mr. Egomaniac, why don't I just stroke that ego a little bit and say, well, you know what? We got thousands of people inside this community who could learn from you then. Let's go. Right? Does everybody else remember that from Michael Burnoff in GAZ? Because since that, I started using that as well, sometimes in conjunction with feel, felt, found, but sometimes not. Right? So that's how I've been managing objections for quite some time.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. I know, you've dealt with a lot of objections, and that's why you've been on the lead board many times before. And this goes, I guess, in line with some of the training that we've had at our masterminds before. Is somebody may come up with an objection, and this is specific to you, Ryan. If somebody comes up with a money objection, it just simply means that the value that they see is not
seeing it yet.
Price yet, right? Based on the price. And yeah, they might have a hurdle of $99, but if it costs them $99 to save their mother from, you know, a treatment that would save her life, you would get the $99 like right now, right? So it's providing perspective for what the value is going to be that they're going to get. Again, it's not about the features, but what makes them emotional. People are inspired because of emotion. So when you talk about family, occupation, recreation, motivation, right, formed, that's how you start to speak to their heart. What is that motivates you? What, you know, is it family, occupation? What kind of recreation? What do you like to do for fun? Those are the things that are going to motivate somebody to buy. Not because we've got 3 different landing pages and we have X amount of funnels and we have an X amount of conversion rate. None of that matters. It's the heart that matters. How do you relate to somebody? So, you know, similar to what we talked about earlier, Ryan, is, you know, figure out what their why is. Hey, she said, hey, this looks really appealing, but I don't have the money. Hey, perfectly fine. I understand that today's world, you know what, money, you know, there's a lot of people that struggle with money. I understand that. Tell me, you know, Joe, what was it that appealed to you most? And just get them talking. Get them talking about what their heart is saying. Hey, what appealed to you? And they start going down that rabbit hole. Well, I like the idea of not having to work. Or I like the idea of having more vacation time. Or I like the idea of, hey, being able to spend time with my family and kids. Whatever they say, you are using that as your guide, your spotlight, to go down that path. Because if it's one of the, maybe it's the first or second or third thing that they say, clearly it's important to them. So ask more questions about those things, and they're going to tell you more. And they're going to tell you why, not why they don't want to do it, they're going to tell you why they do. And that's what you focus on, and present our program as a solution for them to solve that and to get into that role. Does that make sense? Anybody have anything to add to that? Or anybody have a similar experience that they'd like to share?
Well, I think the one thing that I'll add quickly, Kev, is something I've been noticing in a lot of people who are sending their ads to me, like on my team to have a look at, is that you're trying to sell them in your ad. You're trying to like completely complete the sale with the ad. The ad is not there to sell the product. The ad is there to create curiosity for them to contact you so you can follow up, or for them to go to the webinar if you have a conversion going or whatever. And the other thing we have to remember is that nobody cares what this business has done for you. They want to know what it can do for them. So I see a lot of ads with people saying, I got to quit my job, or I got to do this, and I got my time freedom back. And that's all fine and wonderful. But to your prospect, they don't really care what this did for you. They want to know what it can do for them. So if you kind of think that way when you're writing your story ads or when you're making your videos, it tends to be a little bit more effective, you know?
I wanted to ask you about that, Angela, because I have heard that perspective obviously a lot. We've talked about how nobody cares about your story kind of thing. But at the same time, some of the training is saying, tell your story. And because Facebook doesn't allow us to say, what do you want? What do you feel? What, you know, how do you see yourself in the future? Because we can't say that to people. Facebook gets all excited. Do we not need to tell our own stories that way?
Well,
you know, I mean,
I think it's positioning in the language.
Yeah, like for me,
what it mean to you if? So you could have maybe 1 or 2 lines, but something that that just came to mind now is,
Yeah.
how would it feel to not go to work? How would it feel to travel whenever
You want to.
whenever you wanted, or whenever you were inspired? So you don't.
I've had far more interest in the ad where I told my story than any of the other ones that I've done. When I finally just sort of said, screw it, I'm not listening to anybody's advice anymore, and I'm just going to tell my own story. And that's the only one that people have been responding to out of all. Like, I've run 60 ads over the past year.
Awesome.
Well,
So
that's
it
awesome.
isn't
It's
always
I'm
working.
exhausted, damn it.
Yeah, that's awesome that it's working
Yeah.
for you. And again, it's through testing.
Okay.
Right? I just
It's
know
just
for
test.
me,
Okay.
just for me in my videos, and like you, I think most of you have seen my best performing ad, which is my one for men 36 to 47 who've been working too hard physically.
Yeah.
I talk about them. I'm like, you are the fastest growing demographic simply because you've been working too hard physically for the last 15, 20 years. And maybe you don't have another 15 or 20 years in you. I haven't said anything about my story. I made it about them. Right? And it's got 32,000 comments and 500,000 views. You know what I mean? Like, so
Amazing. Yeah.
you know, so that's what I mean in the sense of like, it doesn't necessarily that you can't tell your story at all, but it needs to be about them. What are they going to get if they start this with us? What change in their life, right? Like, can they see?
So speaking from your own, like, I guess when I'm writing it, I'm thinking, okay, I've talked about, for example, one of the things that I put in this particular ad that I've never talked about before was I always used to say that I was tired, but I was really just trying to sleep away how depressed I was. And and so if I read that in someone else's copy somewhere, then I would say, I recognize that. You see what I mean?
Yep.
So it's not necessarily that I'm saying that it's my story versus their story. It's that by telling my story, somebody might say, I resonate with that in you.
That is an important piece. Remember, there are those key aspects of a compelling story. So Expert Secrets talks about it very, very well in the book. You need a background character, so that's you. Sorry, you are the character, but you need a background story. Then you need a challenge. Then you need an epiphany. Like, what did that challenge make you realize?
Right.
After the epiphany, you need a new journey, new path, and then you need a call to action. So those, or the call to action, you know, in movies or stories would be a victory.
Right.
Right? How did the hero triumph?
Right.
So when you're writing your stories, your copy, or you're presenting a video ad, follow that format. It doesn't mean you have to go super in depth with your struggles or with your personal life, but just, you know, touch on it. Touch on, hey, this is who I am. This is the path I was on. Man, I went to school. My parents, you know, were landed immigrants. They drove school into me, and they said, you know what, you need to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, you know, buy a house and be happy. That's what I believed in for the longest period of time. But then something happened where I realized that that wasn't really fulfilling me. I felt that there was more to life. And what I discovered was online marketing. And I discovered this way that people were making money from home. And they were able to travel whenever they wanted. They were able to spend time with their family and not have to sacrifice evenings and weekends, which I used to do because I was in hospitality. And because of that new journey, now I want to share it with you. So for those of you that are committed to a new journey and creating a new lifestyle, comment "I'm ready" below, and I'll personally reach out to you. Literally, that could be your copy, right? Something like that.
I was just going to say, it's a good thing you recorded it. Now you've got yourself a new ad. So.
I do talk about
you know what, Chris? I did an ad very similar to that, and I used my car accident, right? Because that was the catalyst in my life. Like, that was me as the backstory. I did it exactly the way Expert Secrets teaches you, actually. I was the backstory. Then, you know, I did this job, made good money. Then I had this near fatal car accident, which gave me the epiphany that I wasn't really living my life the way I wanted to. I was living my life the way somebody else told me to. Then I found this and found success, right? But for that ad for me tested like shit. I could not get it to convert. And maybe it was me, and maybe like I even put a couple of pictures in of the accident, like of the truck.
Right.
And what I did get back was, oh my God, I can't believe you're alive kind of stuff. And a lot of empowering like comments like that, but no conversions. It was
I'm very full of statistics.
Photos.
Yeah.
It was like, that became, and this could have been me. Like this could have been the way I tested it. Like maybe I should do it again without the accident photos, or maybe less accident photos. So that's not what draws everybody in, is this mangled vehicle and holy fuck, I can't believe you're alive.
That's what I was going to say. I'm full of statistics, and I remember the statistic that it's like 80% less or something if you use multiple photos compared to using one single photo.
Okay.
For conversions.
So, you know what? I may have to test that ad again and just pull out. Like, I think I put in 3 photos of the trucks, of my truck that I was in, and so. But for me, I didn't test well. But that doesn't mean I would never test it again or try again.
Right.
Right. I think the sum up of this is it's not bad for you to tell your story at all, but don't forget that it needs to be about them too.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I'm generally trying to think about, in the same way that we talk about finding your avatar, right? I'm trying to think about what the person on the other side would be thinking in reading this, and are the words that I'm using something that's going to connect to them.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm writing it, even though it's from my own perspective, is that something that's going to connect to the person that's reading this message?
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we need to do, just resonate.
Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome. Again, you're not, like you guys said, you're not trying to sell somebody through your ad. You're trying to create some curiosity so that once they come to you, now you can meet them in the middle and relate. Right? They're coming to you because they see something that they relate to. Now you have to meet them in the middle and relate to them, make them feel understood. And that's how you do that, is by asking some really intelligent but emotion-provoking questions. It's very often not just about money. So show value, provide value that is more than superficial, more than dollars, more than $1,000 or $2,000. So anyways, that's awesome. I mean, we've got enough people here that we could do an entire training on handling objections, but we don't need to, cover that right now. So who has read, now that it's 8 o'clock, who has read that last chapter about vision, chapter 8? Okay, would love to hear everybody's takeaways.
Kev, can I ask one question before we move on to the book? Because I'm behind in my reading on that book. Sorry. Yeah. I got into Leaders Eat Last. Do you know when Business Rockstars shows the show? Because I would like to see the full of all you guys' interviews so I could see how it went. And
they haven't told us. They've delivered them to us so we can use it for content and marketing.
Okay.
But they haven't given us a schedule. So like I have the full, I have my full interview. Everybody else has their full interviews. We also have a promo clip. And right now, I think most people are using it to build some compelling marketing. And that's what I plan to do as well, is to
because I just saw Taylor Knowlton's little 1-minute clip earlier today.
Yeah.
But I just wondered, I've seen that before online, but I don't know when it airs. Like, I don't know how to find it, really.
We'll let you know. I mean, they'll likely let us know, but we do have the full clips, the recordings.
Okay.
And I imagine leaders aren't just putting it out there because they want to create marketing around it. And
for sure. Yeah.
Just put it out there, right?
For sure. I just wondered when it actually aired so we could see them, or how it worked, really, because I don't even really know about that show very much until I saw all you guys on it.
Yeah. Well, you can go to his page. I'm pretty sure you can see archived interviews that he's had, or it's on YouTube, I think.
Okay, I'll check it out. Thanks, Kev.
Awesome.
Okay, Kevin, one other thing, because it's the Chris show. Sorry about that. I wasn't sure if I should bring this up in here, and I actually just private messaged Tammy and asked her. One of the things that I struggle with when it comes to the $99 when it comes to the money objection, just saying $99, I personally feel like that is not an accurate number to say, because $99 gets you into training and it gets you into the community. It doesn't get you running ads. It doesn't get you your websites. It doesn't get you the books. It doesn't, you know, like there's all these extra costs. And so when I say to somebody it's $99, and I always make a really strong point of saying US because it does make a difference obviously here. When somebody says, you know, I have a hard time coming up with $99, for me to say, well, if you can scrape that together, then it's enough, because I feel like it's not. I you know what I mean? So I sort of struggle with that.
So let me ask you this. And this is for perspective first. Is $99 gives you access to what?
It's a ton of value, and I do say that. It gives you access to the community. It gives you access to the webinars, to the training videos, to the to 24/7 assistance from people around you. It gives you like there's a ton of value, absolutely. And I do talk about the value in that money. What I'm saying is that $99 US is not the total amount that they will need to be able to really run.
Yeah, but then you're gonna go into the product too.
I'm not even referring to that part of it. I'm just talking about getting your ads running and stuff.
Worry about the websites and stuff, then you might as well worry about the product too, because that's going to be an added cost if they want to make more money than what they make on the ads, right? So if they're willing to invest the $99, they're going to want to spend $14 on a website to make things work. Like once they've invested and they see that this is their way out of, you know, their hell, they're going to do it. Like, you shouldn't worry about the $14, because I mean you can get a domain for really cheap, and like Bluehost is $4 for a domain. So there are ways that they can do it.
For sure, but the $200 that you need for, well, that you don't need, I guess, for advertising is really the one that kicks in my head.
Well, you can do things organically. I haven't had any ads out since November. So it's your mindset and what you want to put out there. If that's going to be your issue, then people are going to come to you with that issue, right?
Yep, 100%. That's why I'm asking.
Chris, do you feel like you're being shifty and not telling them the truth? Is that how you feel?
No, but I'm very careful in my wording. I'm really careful with what I tell people. I'm like, I don't sugarcoat that there's extra stuff involved. Right. I just don't think that saying $99 is the be-all, end-all number.
No,
nope.
But
and it shouldn't be.
No, yeah.
Because think about this. If you were to buy a business, if you were to start a business in the traditional world, most people, if you're talking about, let's say a franchise, you say, hey, this is what it's going to take you to start. Franchise fee, your building costs, build-out costs, and maybe some loans and leases, right, for equipment, and then probably some sort of deposit for the landlord. So, you have to lead with the lowest common denominator, because you're not dealing with somebody that understands business on a 7 or 8 figure level, right? And a lot of us don't understand that yet either. So when we communicate, I do say $99 to start. Why? Because it's that first bite of the elephant, right? You can't eat how do you eat an elephant? Right. It's one bite at a time. So it's the first bite of the elephant. When they get in, they get to experience, see, and learn all about the other value. And do they have to go on? No, there's no obligation. They can refund in 14 days. My goal is not to sell them everything. Remember, as business people, your goal is not to sell the home run and sell the whole shebang on your ad or even on the webinar. Because most people, if they understand what it took, that will take them out of the game, right? If it took, what it takes money-wise, what it takes investment-wise, but how do you get somebody to learn. I'll use my wife's business for example. You want somebody somebody comes to her and wants to lose 50 pounds. Well, she doesn't say, hey, well, you need to eat 5-6 times a day. You need to have 12 hours.
Kevin, you're cutting out quite a bit.
Sleep. You have to go and do minimum 45 minutes of.
Kevin, you're cutting out a lot.
Yeah, I think your Wi-Fi is just a little shaky.
And it's important information, so I don't want to miss it.
Am I okay now?
Now you are, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I okay now?
You're getting there.
I think.
Okay, sorry about that, guys.
There you go.
Okay, so essentially, when somebody gets in, you're not telling them everything, right? Just like if somebody came to her and wants to lose 50 pounds, she would tell her how much she needs to sleep.
Sorry, Kevin, no.
That up front.
I don't know, maybe type it out.
I think what Kevin is saying
the heck is going on? I need a hard
when somebody comes to Mel and they say, Mel, I want to lose 50 pounds. Mel doesn't then turn around and say, okay, you need to do 1 hour of cardio a day. You need to eat 19,000 calories a day. You need to
19,000.
I'm just throwing shit out here, Chris. You need to, eat whatever, 2,500 calories a day. So half of it, this much needs to be carbs, fat, protein. You need to do your weights. Here's your back day. Here's your bi day. Here's your tricep day. Mel doesn't give it all. She gives them an explanation of what she can do, what her services are, and what their costs are.
But focusing on the goal first.
Like our upfront 99. This is where you start. Here's the training, right? And
okay.
We go from there. So
okay, no, that makes sense actually.
Yeah. I'm hopefully
add-ons.
I took Kevin's words right out of his mouth on this one. I would normally not do that, but he was cutting out, so I was trying to move this along.
Am I okay now? Can you guys hear and see me?
I think so.
Yeah, but you're still in and out, Kev.
Really? Okay.
Where are you?
Your neighbor is hacked into your Wi-Fi, I think.
Well, I'm on my 5G, so it shouldn't be. I moved. I bought a desktop, and so I'm in my. Well, this is now my office. It's a spare room. But I'm a little bit further from the router. I think that might be why.
Possibly.
So,
you're okay right now.
Okay.
Maybe don't move.
So essentially, the $99 to get them in, and then for us to provide value.
Okay.
And also to help them change their mindset, to show value that makes them stay in. Most people, if they knew what it took to succeed, most people just through conditioning, they won't commit, because they're going to say, well, yeah, I want to make $5,000 a month and get out of my job, but geez, I got to do all that. No thanks.
Right.
There is consumer psychology.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Why do you think free trials work so well? Right? Or trial offer only, the gym, it's like only $60 for the first 6 months. Because they want to get you in the door so you experience it and get attached to some sort of result and then continue.
Yeah. I liked actually Angela saying the add-ons. That was actually the thing that made it go click. So that's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And again, purchasing decisions are very, very, very often not about price.
Mm-hmm.
Get emotional. Every time you come up with an objection, you get down to their why. Get down to something that's emotional, because it frankly doesn't matter. If our price was $1,000, you would still see the same amount of people saying, I can't afford it. But you'll also see the same amount of people that will say, hey, that's good value. It's all how it's pitched. Pricing does not matter. Why do you think there's people that buy $10 shoes and there's other people that buy $1,000 shoes? right? Price doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So, so who else has a takeaway from the? Oh, sorry, Chris, you have something else?
I think Jan has.
I've got to stop. Thank you.
No, you don't have to stop. If you have other questions, then by all means.
No, it's feeling a little bit like my company is here in front of me for me to ask all my questions right now, and other people need chances to talk to. So
okay, well, we can go back to you, Chris, if you have some other ones. Who else has takeaways from the chapter?
One thing that I want to talk about to everyone, and the reason why I want to talk about it, often when you first get started, or even if you've been in this for a while and you're not exactly where you want to be, we tend to put leaders on a pedestal. And what that does is that puts you below, so that's not a good thing. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because he talks about the 4 types of people when it comes to vision. And I want to let you guys know that every single person here is a leader. Yes, some are more seasoned than others, but I'll tell you why. There's 4 types of people. There's people with 0 vision whatsoever. They gave up on a better life. If you're here right now, you have a vision. Then the second person, they have a vision, but they don't do shit about it. Again, if you're here right now, you're doing something about it. The third one is someone with a vision that's doing something about it. And that's an achiever. So already, you guys, even if you might not be where you want to be yet, you are an achiever. You're doing something about it. And then finally, there's a person who has a vision, does something about it, shares that vision with other people, and shows them how to get there also. So, like I said, yes, there's different levels of leadership. Yes, there's always room to improve for everybody, even Kevin, believe it or not.
True.
But all I'm saying is everyone here is a leader because you're doing something about your vision, and we're all here to share with everybody else and teach them how to get there. So I just want to bring that up for everyone.
Thanks, brother.
That was a mic drop moment right there.
Who else has a takeaway from the chapter on vision?
I got to be honest, of all the chapters in the book, the way it's written was the most dry chapter for me. It was so challenging for me to read. And I'm actually a person of vision. I make all my decision based on vision and, you know, how I can inject myself in it and being creative. So I was disappointed how it was written. But I'm telling you, Jan, when you explained the 4 types, I'm like, you should have just wrote this chapter. It probably would have been way more sexy to read. I'll say that right now. But what I took away from all the dryness, I had to read this chapter 3 times to make it through. But for me, I really see it as your vision is the result of your daily manifestations and affirmations. Because when you manifest, it's because you're manifesting something you see that hasn't yet happened. And we talk a lot in our community about manifestation and reciting our affirmations. Those things are of a vision of something we don't yet possess, that what we highly desire. So Jan is correct about the 4 personality types. And when he says you're here, that means you have vision. So whatever you're manifesting or affirming, and if you're not manifesting and affirming, great time to start. And when you have vision that you really believe in, you don't have to be pushed or motivated anymore. Your vision actually pulls you. And again, if you combine that with your manifestation, your affirmations, hence why reading the magic is really important, because then you're sharing gratitude, what you're grateful for and what you're looking forward to. So as difficult of this chapter was for me to get through, those are some of my takeaways. But I also know for myself as an entrepreneur, whether it's a project I work on in my personal life, whether it's me moving into a new place and how do I want to decorate it. I envision how I want my space to look. You know, when I remember a year ago, I was apartment hunting and I envisioned how I wanted that apartment to look before I even saw it. And then once I got in, and I don't know if any of you have bought a home or maybe a car, and the second you walked into that home or apartment, you're feeling like, wow, this feels like home to me. And that's what made your decision, because somewhere in your life, you had a vision of what home feels like. So it helped you find that home. you had a vision of the vehicle that you've always wanted. You go to test drive it, you're behind the wheel, you feel it, you envision yourself driving on the highway, going on the back road, zipping through traffic, whatever that vision is, to acquire it. So having a vision is key, because we all have to have a target to aim for. And it's not a financial target or getting awards and stuff like that. It's actually envisioning the experience that you're going to have, and how you're going to feel when you achieve that vision. But yeah, it was a dry one, but I did take some stuff away.
I think it comes down to one thing.
Yeah.
Is what is the big picture?
Yeah.
For me, that's what I took from it. You, at the very beginning and at the very, very end, on his action steps, developing the visionary within you, that was one of the questions, is looking ahead. What is the big picture? So what is your big picture? I'm telling you right now that a leader's vision is not about money. A leader's vision is about impact. So what can you do? What is your vision? How does this vehicle help you to build that vision? Maybe that's a vision of you not only being a full-time family, but now being able to help other full-time families. And you coach and you mentor people how to have fulfilling relationships within the family unit. Maybe you write a book on it. Maybe you release an ebook. Maybe you have your own coaching platform where you're showing people how they can escape the corporate world. Perhaps you become a best-selling author talking about how to maximize relationships, or maybe it's talking about how to live with abundance versus being poor or broke mentality. There are so many things that we're capable of, but we just have to have the vision that gets outside of that, like those blinders. How big can you think? Perhaps you start running your own masterminds where you have 1,000, 10,000 people that come and they pay $500 a pop to come hear you speak for 2 hours. Because you have value. We all have that value, but it's buried deep inside of us. We have to bring that value out. And that value comes from having a vision, number one. That's first. How do you bring it out? How do you mold it? Because that vision, it's a power inside us that isn't like, it's not like talent, right? Talent is something you're either given or you're not. But vision is something you can grow. It's something you can mold. It's something you can develop. Just like work ethic. I'll tell you, I was a lazy kid. All I wanted to do was play and play video games and watch TV. But my work ethic evolved because my vision evolved for my future. And it's been a process. This has been a very long process that spans decades for me. But we all have that inside of us. So how big can you think? Not about the money, the impact outside of that, the impact and influence that you have. What else can you do? Right? When you take care of the money, everything else starts to come together. When you take care of the money, you now have the time and the resources to go and do the things they're passionate about. And maybe you're content chilling with your family every day. That's fine. But maybe there's something else there that you're truly passionate about that now you can dedicate the rest of your life towards, because it just lights a fire in your soul. I'll tell you that I love what I get to do here. I love what I get to do with GAZ. I love what I get to do as an affiliate and as a leader and a mentor. But that doesn't mean that has to be the only thing that provides an impact. So you guys, while this is a vehicle for you, this does not have to be your end all be all. This is a learning and growing platform. This is to help you guys change your outlook and your perspective so that you can accomplish more and better things. Not just with us. It could be outside of us. It could be within us. It could be that you have a vision for being one of our top producers. If you become committed to that, and you want to be in our leadership council, you want to be a trainer on the webinars or train at a live event, you start holding that vision in your brain, it'll start to manifest itself. But you need to have the vision first and then get obsessed with that vision. Become a freak and think about it day in, day out. Because what you focus on does come true. So start focusing on that. Put energy into your future, your big picture. And that big picture, we can all make that, like, that's why we're here. That's why we have a mastermind. Is because even though each one of us has our own individual big picture, that doesn't mean we can't have one or a bigger picture that encompasses all of us. Because I tell you what, if Jan came out with a fitness program that he sold on an ebook, I would support him for sure, and I'm sure we all would. Right? If Ryan started talking about how to spend time with your kids and how to have fruitful relationships with your children and your family, like, I don't even need to ask, and I know that Ryan, his top priority is his family, and he's so passionate about that. If he came out with an ebook or a product or a course or wrote a book about it, I'd support him. But that's another part of that bigger picture. So we all have that seed inside of us. We got to nurture it. We got to water it. Pour that Kangen water and that vision on it, and it'll grow. So, any other takeaways from chapter 8? No? So, I'll end with this, guys. How to increase your vision. Number 1, spend time with people who inspire you to dream bigger. Hey, guess what? That's all of you guys. Spend time. And don't think that it's limited to Thursdays and the first Saturday of every month. Start masterminding with each other. Start going for coffee, get on Zooms, share those ideas. Number 2, ask questions to help you see farther and wider. Not just questions to other people, questions to yourself. How do you grow that vision? How can I have a larger impact? How can I have more influence? Ask yourselves those questions and think on it. Most people don't spend that much thinking in a day. Most people think that they're thinking, but all they're doing is giving into habits, habitual thoughts, habitual routines. Start setting aside some time that you can just think. And then last step, he says, develop a vision growth plan. What can you do to grow in the area of vision? Can you read biographies of great leaders and innovators? Do you need to expand your technical capabilities? Should you expose yourself to other cultures, other leaders? Stretch your thinking and your expectations. Learn to think bigger. That's it. I really think that this is one of the simplest chapters in this book. So hopefully after this chapter, you guys have learned how to grow your vision and start that plan now. Start that plan so you can, over the next week, over the next month, remember that we're almost halfway through 2018. And before you know it, it'll be 2019. It's crazy. So how far is that vision? How far down the road can you look?
Yep.
That is a true key before something is actually there.
Kevin, I
Yeah,
think
anybody?
Wi-Fi booster in your new office.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna need another modem, I think.
Yeah.
So there's a connection here, but
Go LA.
I apologize. I'll work on that. Okay, guys. Well, we have.
I just want to
sorry,
end.
hold
I
on.
just want to end and say something here. I can honestly say, like, anything that I've really wanted in life. For one, I had to really acknowledge to myself that I wanted it. And trust me, there are things in life that I thought I wanted. Deep down inside, I wasn't really sure about. And really, in the end, those things never worked out. Not the way I thought, not the way I planned. But when I thought back to those moments and realized, why didn't I have that thing? Why didn't that come my way? When deep down inside, I wasn't fully convicted and committed to make that happen or desire it to happen or come my way. The things that I was very determined on acquiring in my life, whether it was a material thing, a type of person to come into my life, and I actually manifest even my own inner circle, because if some of you are struggling with your vision, and maybe you have vision, and like Gan said, everyone here has vision, that's why you're here, but maybe you're not crystal clear on it. I really believe in creating a movie in your mind. Really have just moments of pure stillness and meditate on what your perfect day looks like. There's a reason why that question is asked in the very beginning when you did your first coaching call with GAZ. What does your perfect day look like? And really, really envision that. And if some of you have been here a while, go back into your back office and reread those notes, and then ask yourself, is that still my vision? Is it more powerful now than ever? Or is it different, right? When I went back, I was like, wow, that kind of really wasn't fully my vision. Or now I have a bigger vision because of what I have access to and the type of people I get to work with and the personal development that I've experienced. I believe even more now that I can achieve my vision. So my vision expanded. But I really do believe in writing down what your goals are, that are attached to your vision. If you have a dream house in mind, have a picture of that house, whether it's on a vision board, that's why they call it a vision board, or have it on your desktop. You know what I'm saying? On the one place you look at every single day consistently. I use Post-it notes. That's just my thing. The things that I really desire in life, I write it down and I ask for it. I command the universe that I want it. And this is what I need in my life. And I will put Post-its everywhere. And I assure you, 100% of everything I've written down and fully committed myself to achieve, I've achieved. Anything I half-assed, didn't fully believe in, didn't think I had the tools or resources, didn't happen. But having vision is also a muscle to develop as well. You know, it's to develop yourself to understand, what does it take to have clear vision? What do I need to do to clarify it? And if any of you are stuck on vision, reach up to any of the leaders and have that conversation to help you become closer to that vision and really believe that you are deserving of the best in everything in life. Because if you feel in any way you don't deserve it, you've already lost it, your chance to acquire it. You have to put yourself 100% and risk it all to have it. You really do.
Very true. Burn the boats, burn the ships.
Yeah.
Right. Well, awesome, guys. We're a little bit over time, but if there's anything else that you guys want to address, do you guys have any other questions at all? Marketing questions, follow-up questions? I want to make sure that we do address this.
No, we're good.
Okay, everybody's good? Okay, awesome, guys. Well, hey, enjoy the rest of your night. You guys keep crushing it, keep leveling up. The amount of growth and development that we are seeing in all of you is absolutely amazing. Use that. Look in the mirror and say, hey, where was I 6 months ago? Regardless of a physical result on sales or income, you'll see how far you've come. And that really is the goal, is to show you guys how much we can grow up here. This is where it starts. Again, just like today's topic, expand that vision. Everything else starts to follow. So, love you and appreciate you guys. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the sunshine. If you've got sun, it's going to be beautiful summer. And yeah, we'll talk to you all soon.
Have a great night, everyone.